Hey everyone, happy Monday and welcome to another episode of Day in the Life of Vintage Classic Specialist. So since I'm already standing here pointing the camera at this guy, let me talk about it for a minute. So pretty much the final touches on this one today. The tires finally came in. There had been a delay in shipment. So we ended up going with 175 65s. Of course, right now I can't find it. I think 175 65s and then 195 65s, obviously all 15s. So a little bit shorter on front than stock, but wider. So the stock tire is a 165 width. This is a 175. So, another centimeter or so, but a little bit lower profile. And then in the back, stock height, which is, stock diameter height, whatever you want to call it, is 25 inches for a metric tire that a VW takes. And but this is much wider. This is a 195. So, yeah, fatter tires front and back. Stock height tire in the back, a little bit shorter in front to give the car, a little bit of a stance. Not super aggressive, but just kind of, show that it's a little bit, got a little bit of something going on here. And so the height that I had the front adjusted at, just, by putting the beam together and stuff, I'm actually really pretty happy with it. The car has about a ½ inch of rake now that it's all settled. I took it for a good drive and, let everything settle and then started measuring things. And yeah, I'm actually really happy with it. I sent the owner pictures. I think he's happy as well. He's probably going to pick it up tomorrow. But yeah, that was kind of the major last thing, was getting the wheels and tires on. If you remember, or you want to look back through some old videos, if you're new around here, the tires that were on the front, I think were like 165 45s. That was a 20-inch tall tire, so a full 4 inches shorter in diameter than this one. And I mean, the sidewall on those things were literally like that. I was joking that they were basically rubber bands. And then the front end of the car was just slammed way down on those. It didn't really look that good, and it wasn't really the owner's style, and the front end was super low, and I think it was scraping on everything. But yeah, so we took care of it, adjustable beam, and we went and replaced some suspicious brake parts and stuff like that. And we did a bunch of little things like that on the car, oil change, valve adjustment, stuff like that. But yeah, main thing was sorting out the stance, and it's sorted. So there you go. I should mention that was my first time really road testing this thing. This little 1776 in this thing rips. This is a really quick little car, especially considering it's only a 1776. It felt like it was probably 90 horse easy. I don't know. It felt really good. This thing runs really good. It's a really great little motor. Not sure who built it, but they did a good job. So good for them. All right. So that was it for that one. So Rafa continued working on this bad boy today. And mostly he was working here at the back. So you can see that the third brake light is on now. So putting on the bezel and the lens took quite a while because, again, we kind of scavenged some parts here off some later cars. And this bezel was off like, say, a 67 Beetle. And in this direction, I guess what I'd call the depth, it was actually much taller, much thicker than what belongs on a barn door. So it would have been kind of like sticking out a little bit too far. Again, a pretty minor detail, and 99.9% of people wouldn't have even noticed it, but we knew it looked wrong. So Rafa very carefully shaved down the height of this bezel here just to get it, looking correct, and then installed it with the original, you can see Hella on there, an original light lens for it. So that went on, and then also the latch went on, which if you check one of last week's shows, Rafa basically did all this, I want to call it blacksmithing for lack of a better word, to modify mainly this rod right here to make it work for a barn door. on a barn door, this rod is much shorter than it is on a mid 55 and up non-barn door. So tons and tons of work going into modifying just this little piece to make it the correct length. But look at that, works amazing now. You just lift it up and boom, it snaps into place. When you want to lower it, you just give this flat spot here a little push, and there it goes. However, while I have it up, I can show the light here. So this is not an original barn door setup here. However, we took one off like a European accessory, I think reverse light or something, the bulb holder out of it. And then actually I think this part here might be out of a barn door light. Anyway, we took a bunch of pieces and kind of put them together and made them look fairly convincingly correct as far as what that should look like on a barn door. And yeah, it looks bitchin'. Looks, you can tell that it's pretty ancient looking as far as, you know, very kind of primitive screw terminal connections and all the stuff like the older cars had. And so yeah, that came out really, really good. So yeah, Rafa finished all that up. And again, the main thing was the latch. He also put the seal on. So on barn doors, the seal goes on the actual barn door itself, the lid, not on the body. And of course the seals are too fat, so they're all carefully trimmed down to the right thickness to fit on there. There you go. So yeah, tons of work just to get these last few details here. Unfortunately, he also started, let me put this thing down here. He also started assembling the Safari windows today. And he even, let's see here, he even took the glass, and we do have a little stencil for it. So he took the glass, and let's see if I can find it here. Oh, these are not them. Okay, I don't know where they are. These are, I think, the regular fixed windows. Well, wherever the Safari pop-outs are, he etched the Sakura logo in, which basically looks like that, minus this little bit down here, which we didn't have on our stencil. And then he went to assemble the windows onto the frames, and lo and behold, the window glass were maybe about a ½ inch too tall. So tall in this direction. So I don't know, I got a call into Wolfgang International, which is who those came from, and a call into Joe, the guy that works at Wolfgang, and then on the side he makes the frames and stuff. And I think he actually makes the windows at Wolfgang. Anyway, long story short, they don't fit. They're too tall. So that was a major bummer. Rafa was all set to stay late today and get those fully installed, but alas, he tried and we were apparently sent the wrong glass. So major bummer there. So that was pretty much Rafa's day. So yeah, I already talked about this one, which I worked on a little bit, not too much, just, you know, putting tires on, taking it for a drive. His trunk liner and all that stuff, which has been sitting up there, I went ahead and reinstalled all that stuff, no big deal. But yeah, other than taking this one for another test drive, pretty sure it's done. I'll take it for another test drive tomorrow, and then I think he's going to come get it when he's done with his work day. So that brings us to this guy. So we are now on plan C with this car. Plan A was going to be to do a bitchin' paint job, and then we decided, no, this car really needs wheels, tires, and suspension more than a paint job, and they were going to cost about the same. But I'll tell you what, guys, when I jacked the front of this car up and started looking around under there, this car, it's kind of a basket case, to be honest with you. And I also discovered that the front floor over here is pretty rusted out. The whole car is just kind of like lots of rust and gunk, and which normally, you know, I'm not necessarily afraid of. However, putting bitchin' wheels on it and an adjustable front beam, the car is still, after all that, would still kind of be a basket case. It would just be a basket case with a really bitchin' interior and really cool wheels and tires. But honestly, what I'm now recommending to the owner, now that I actually kind of crawled around under the car to see what its, you know, sort of bones, so to speak, look like, I'm like, I don't think you should invest that much money on this car. So now what we're back to is, of course, the interior. We're going to finish that, and that's going to look amazing. That's definitely going to help the car more than I think anything else we could do. So that's a given, and we had already started on it anyway. So rather than spend all the money and stuff to put on like Fuchs that would be really wide and stuff like that, I think we're gonna just basically put spacers. So they make really thick spacers, like 1.5 inch, 2 inch, I think even 4 inch, which would be too much. But they for this 4x130 pattern, and the way those work is the really thick ones is the spacer itself basically bolts to the hub or the drum, whatever you want to call it, and then the wheel in turn bolts to that. So it's not just like a thick chunk of metal and then you put in longer studs. You actually bolt the spacer to the drum in this case, and then in turn you bolt the wheel to that. So I found some of those, and they're available, like I mentioned, in lots of different thicknesses. I'm going to take some measurements, and we're just going to space these wheels out. Is it ideal? No, but is this car worth spending, another, say, $6,000-7,000 just to put on better looking wheels and have disc brakes up front and an adjustable front beam? I can't in good conscience really tell the owner that that's a great idea for this car. So we're going to pretty much put on spacers to kick these out. Yes, the tires are still going to be a bit on the narrow side, but at least we're not going to have these sort of silly looking gaps here between the fender and the wheels. And then I am still wanting to, or he's still wanting me to clean up the engine. So I actually started on that tonight. This engine was also, and this is like pretty typical of this car actually. So this engine, the wiring on it was unbelievable. There were wires going everywhere and things like spliced together and connections that if you just like pull on the wire a little bit, the wire would pull right out of the terminal. So this is sort of the cleaned up version. I may do a little bit more on the wiring, but another good example of kind of how things on this car are, the coil was not mounted. So I mounted that. It was literally just like laying there. I don't know that I've ever seen that before. It was not even mounted. It's not, I didn't see any signs that it had been mounted. It looked like it was just laid there. So I went ahead and mounted it to the fan shroud, and then routed the wires, cleaned those up kind of the best I could without going way overboard. And obviously the whole car needs to be rewired to do it correct, but I'm trying to get in by with what we have here. So now that I've got the wiring sort of fixed up, I think I'm going to try and clean the engine and see what it looks like after I do that. And then I will synchronize his carburetors, check his timing, probably check the valves, try and get it running as best I can and clean to the extent that I can. And then, wheel spacers. And I may put a pair of those shocks that they make for V-dubs that have the coil springs on them that could actually like lift a car up maybe an inch or so. I may put a set of those on the front to try and like level the car out a little bit. I did verify that it actually has a cut and turned front beam. The reason I didn't see it before was and for those of you that are Volkswagen people, you'll know what I mean when I say cut and turned. They only cut and turned the top tube of the front end, which is why I couldn't see it until I got the car up in the air and was able to kind of crawl up in there and then, see what was going on. So yeah, I thought before they had pulled torsion leaves out like they had done on this car, but no, it was actually been cut and turned, but I think they went a little too far with it. So I'm hoping that, and those coilover shocks for these things are, I don't even know, $100-150. Raise the front of the car up a little bit, push the wheels out with some spacers. We'll put the interior in, see if my guys can polish this thing up a little bit, clean the motor, give it a good tune up, and send this guy on his way. And, say, hey, basically just enjoy this thing for what it is. And you know, not really worth going crazy investing money on it. So yeah, kind of sad. I was looking forward to seeing this thing with a set of bitchin' wheels and tires on it, and you know, the stance set all perfect and stuff like that. But you know, I can't really spend my customers' money in a way that you know, it's just not right, because he would just be so far upside down in this car, and it would still have tons of issues like wiring and rust and stuff like that. So anyway, kind of sad. I'm kind of sad. I was looking forward to making this thing look really bitchin', but it'll look a lot better than when it came in. But its full potential is not going to be realized in this lifetime, probably. So who knows? Anyway, guys, Mr. Jacob was in today, and so this pile of parts here, and if I can squeeze back here without tripping and dying, and there it is, and that is the motor for the 68 Ghia. So I went ahead and had him tear that motor down, and yeah, I did a good job, got it all tore apart. The only thing still, so the case halves are just sitting together. He's had this side off already. The only thing that's still assembled really is the crank. So next time he comes in, he can yank the crank apart, and then I don't know, we'll send this over to Brian Roth at some point, but he already has our motor for the tennis ball, aka the 74 bug. So I don't want to overload him too much, but yeah, at least it gave something for Jacob to do, is go ahead and pull this one apart and stuff like that. And here are the windows that were supposed to be for the barn door, and you can see the logo that Rafa put on there. Looks fairly amazing, but yeah, these are too tall by at least half an inch. So major bummer, very disappointing. So that was our day, guys. Hope you enjoyed this. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you again tomorrow. Bye.